So which facility that you in?
So they just transferred me to Salinas. I'm from Salinas. I'm at CHCF, which is California Healthcare Correctional Facility. It's like a level two.
How long you been at that one?
Well, I've been here since May 16th, but I'm a level four, so I'm not supposed to be here. So I'm not in here for disciplinary. I'm in the hole, but they won't let me go to the yard program. They just had me back here for, they said, attempted murder on the CO with great bodily injury, but I beat that, of course. More rigmarole.
So how long have you been in?
I've been in for 35 years. This is my 35th year. Exactly.
About 35. And then what was your charge?
They gave me first degree murder, rape, and robbery in 1989 to 92. I was in the county jail fighting it.
Okay, so and then I seen the what was that? The GoFundMe, the free
Oh,
island.
you saw that? I made that. I bought a phone from Suge Knight. You remember Suge Knight with Tupac?
Yeah.
Bought a cell phone from him. Well, me and my little partner at the time gave him $2,000, and I did that all myself. That, the TikTok. People didn't want to help me. I've been doing this all by myself. So, I thought that would be a way to get, some national. I wasn't trying to get money. I got money in here. I was trying to get people to help me to, get a return on my conviction. Or get some return on this taxpayer money.
Oh, so what?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to this interview. So can you explain the GoFundMe and what it's for briefly?
Yeah, sure. So I met a young lady in 2005 when they killed Tookie named Claudia Whitman. She worked for NADAR. It was the death row to stop death row inmates getting killed on death row. For CURE, CURE. So when she told me, Alan, I can't help you because you have LWOP, you have a living death sentence, and it would kill off her funding. So I decided to come up with the FAD movement, which I'm glad you found, the Free Alan Devon movement. She helped me type it up. It's on my Facebook page too. The little paper is on that Facebook page, but I did the GoFundMe because I felt it would be necessary to have attorneys, the public, everybody, a public cry because the young lady got murdered. Her case is still a cold case. They know that I didn't commit the murder. There was no evidence for rape. There was no evidence for robbery. They even tried to tell me to take a deal with LWOP. I refused, and at the time, I just didn't know how to, litigate for myself. But after 30 years, I became pretty well at, litigation. I'm a jailhouse lawyer, and they trying to get me. I mean, not for any more, they trying to get me because I help everybody in here for, trying to advocate for themselves. So the Free Island Levon movement was, to me, thought was the best way to get exposure, to help people, to see if people would look at it,
Do you go through the? Let me see. What they call those? What type of lawyers are those that help people for?
Oh well, I went through the Innocent Project. The Centurion Ministry picked my case up in New Jersey, Jim McCloskey and them. But what happened was, in my case, Judge Wapner, he destroyed all the evidence in my case. He's from the People Court. Judge Wapner from the People Court. You ever heard of the People Court? With Marilyn Million is on there now.
That's the one.
Yeah, it's People's Court. Yeah, with Harvey Levin. Yeah, that judge. I got copies of the letter. He wrote me a letter in 2000. He says, "Man, I made a mistake by not preserving the evidence that you asked to be preserved, the DNA evidence, the blood evidence, the clothing, everything that was, used against me, to try to formulate a case." And the Innocent Project says, "Well, we can't help you because they destroyed all of the evidence in your case." So fast forward, I did a healthcare case up in the prison, and the lawyer that says, "Hey man, you need to file up under the military. You were in the military," and I was in the Navy. I went to the Navy in Chicago at 17. I had 8 kids, and so unfortunately, with something that I thought would never help me, it's called the Assembly Bill 865. I filed it, and I got a bomb-ass federal public defender in Los Angeles named Michael T. Drake, and he's filing for me to be exonerated under McCoy versus Louisiana because my lawyer said that I committed the murder. Even though I was on the stand, I never committed the murder. Nobody ever point evidence towards me. There was no evidence, circumstantial evidence, nothing ever no fingerprints. They got the murder weapon, they had the blood, they had the semen. The semen wasn't mine, and when they found the semen in the female, I'm like, well, what the hell? But, by me being so young, I'm 60 now, but back then I was only 25, 26. I didn't know how to, advocate for myself. And, them lawyers, they just wanted the money.
Man, so how long does that process take? Is it a long process that you're going through? How long have you been going through that process?
No. Well, with this new federal public defender that I got, right? I got him in 2022 when I was down there in San Diego on the same yard with Suge Knight. And he said, give him some time to help him. He was doing it pro bono. He did it for free. He just told me just in February, I met him on February 26th. I got the letter. He says, I'm going to get you exonerated. He says, just get him a cup of coffee. And then I just got a notice with him last week. He said he's going to send me the paperwork. So July, August, I'm going to be out, him and his investigator, Kate. It's just to get him a cup of coffee. I'm kind of shook up by that, brother, because, I've been in here for 30-something years. All my family has died in Chicago. All my kids, I got 11 kids, they scattered all over around the world. I just found just my youngest one on Facebook, and he doesn't even know me. You know what I'm saying? He don't even know, but, he appreciate that brand new Mustang I got him. I'm sure he do.
Yeah, so you said you was arrested when you was like 25, and you from Chicago. So what was the, how many times have you been, arrested?
None. I remember I was in the Navy. I had no felony convictions. I got caught with some weed. I had a jaywalking ticket, but I had nothing that would ever got me some time except drugs. I had got caught with weed and some paraphernalia, crack paraphernalia, but nothing that got me. No robberies, no rapes, no GTAs, no burglaries, no murders, no batteries, nothing. I'd never done anything like that.
Right. So this happened in California?
Yes, it's happened in Hollywood, California. They call it the Rampart Scandal. If you Google the Rampart Scandal, a lot of Hispanic and, they was messing up all the Hispanics and blacks. A lot of people got out. And then they tried to open up our Innocent Project, which was called the Post-Conviction Center. And the attorney name was Gigi Gordon. They murdered her. These California niggas out here, they vicious. She was fucking over a lot of, people who caught life without sentences. So, they was Crips, Bloods, they sent the crew on her and they murdered her. Yeah, that was a trip. Hey. Yeah, this is real too. This is real talk.
Hey, so how did you end up in Chicago from California? What was that process like?
Well, I graduated high school at 16 in Chicago. I was Health Franciscan, went to Oliver Harvey College on 103rd. I had 8 kids. I started having kids very young at 12.
Dang.
I was hypersexual. Yeah, I know. My auntie was my first love, Rosemary Fisher. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything was wrong with it. She was working me when I was a little kid. If you ever seen that Antoine Fisher movie, she was my girlfriend, her and my cousin LaWanna. So by the time when I was 12, I had my first 2 girls, Tina and Maria, got pregnant, and I had my son Maurice and I had my daughter Maria. And I just kept having kids, I was a vice lord. I was a CVL going to Lindblom. But I went to school every day, that was just shelter, in Chicago, to chase the girls during summer school. Signing up to go back to school was just sport, just to be around the girls, sell my little weed sack. But I'd never been in trouble. And when I graduated out of, high school early, I went to the Navy because I had 8 kids at 16, right there on 80th and Saginaw. That's how I got to California.
You said your first set of kids was by?
I had a daughter by a girl named Michelle that stayed off of 86 in Cottage Grove above the church. And I had a son, my oldest son is named Maurice. They call him Reese. And he grew up on 81st and Colfax. No, 82nd and Colfax. I grew up on 81st and Saginaw with my dad. That's when I went to Lindblom. That's when I went to Health Franciscan. That's when I went to Oliver Harvey College. I was a youngster. Yeah, I was academically and athletically inclined. Besides being a hoe, yeah, I was a straight hoe. Straight up. No, and that's because, like I told you, because of my auntie, my aunt and my cousin LaWanna, I was the only boy in the whole both sides of the family. My father's side is black and Irish, and my mother's side, she's Indian and from, they from Mississippi. You still there?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Well, what happened? Now
I can't see you no more.
Oh, you had said something with your. Oh my bad. You had said something about your auntie. What was that?
Well, my mother's younger sister, her name is Rosemary Fisher. She started having sex with me when I was 6 years old until I was 13. And the only reason why she stopped because I penetrated her. And, well, I didn't know at the time what was going on because I was, I was in love with her, And then my cousin LaWanna, my first cousin, they used to call her my kissing cousin, LaWanna Martin. She caught us having, relations, At the time I was young, she was just, using me as a little tool. But I became very acquainted. She looked like them from Good Times. I was on this, and that's how all my baby mamas look. It really messed me up. That's why I'm in the mental health hospital right now. They said that I'm hypersexual. It caused me to have poly drug use. I'm promiscuous. Low impulse control. So, but my mama didn't help me at all because she was bipolar. So all that mixed together, I was just taking time bomb, with my auntie. And then when it finally had a nervous breakdown when I was in San Diego in 2010, the doctor told me I needed to write a letter to her for closure. So my grandmother, Florence Fisher, my auntie, Mignonette Harris, but she was a Fisher too, and Christine Fisher, they're all arrested. They all helped me fix the letter and write it to her. You ain't gonna believe it. Soon the letter got to her, and she's in Drummond, Tennessee. She had just retired as an admiral from the Navy. She sent the letter to the Memphis PD. They faxed it to the prison, and I'm in a fight with the ISU guards because I have morphines and tobacco on me, which is contraband. I'm fighting with them. I don't know why I'm fighting with them. Finally, when they said, "Man, why you fighting, bro?" I'm thinking they're trying to get me for the drugs. I didn't want to lose. I didn't want no case. So the lieutenant said, "Who you know in Alabama?" I said, "I don't know nobody in Alabama." "Man, you got me fucked up." "I'm crying, because I'm in there fighting 5 or 6 COs, big ass motherfuckers. He said, "No, man, you wrote a sexually explicit letter." I said, "No, man, but got me fucked up. You got the wrong person." Now I'm really standing on my, my square. I said, "Man, you got me fucked up. That's on Vice Lord." Woo. He said, "Hold on." He went back in the back, came back. He says, "I apologize." I'm like, I was shocked. I don't know why he apologizing though. He said, "Man, if the Memphis police would have read this letter, they would have locked that lady up." Who was Rosemary Fisher in Tennessee? My mouth dropped. I'm crying like a motherfucker, bro. This is the letter that my grandmother, her mother, her 2 sisters, Minnie and Chris, helped me devise to tell her, "You fucked me up by fucking me." You know what I'm saying? From 6 till I was 13. It really fucked me up, brother. It really did. I didn't even realize it though. That's how I got all them kids. Go ahead.
So when you got when y'all got caught like having sex, how was your relationship after that? And like when was the last time that y'all was y'all cool since y'all got caught, or when y'all got caught y'all weren't cool no more? How did that go?
We only got caught by my first cousin, LaWanna, my mother's sister's daughter. She was the same age. And the only reason why it wasn't cool because LaWanna was a nympho. I didn't know nothing about this stuff back then. I didn't understand why she was constantly pulling on me, playing with me, kissing on me, sleeping with me every night. Because Auntie Rose would do this when she would, come over to my mama's house and babysit, or if I'm over Granny's house over there on 19th and Spalding. I didn't know what was the difference. But LaWanna was just too aggressive. And she was serious about being my kissing cousin. That's what they called her. And remember, I'm the only boy. My mama she was the oldest of 12. And it was all girls in the family, literally. Like, all the boys had girls. So I was the only boy. I was the oldest grandson and the only grandson. So they used to dote over me. My hair was long down in my back. My eyelashes long. My eyes is brown as blue because I'm black and Irish. My mama, I never seen my father's house, so I'm always with my mama. You know what I'm saying? And I was a mama's boy. So my auntie, she took it to another level. She was the only one. And then when LaWanna caught us, to answer your question, it tormented me because if we riding in the car with my mama, she playing with my whipple bat, or if we she sleep with me, they consider her, we took baths together, we did everything together from we was babies. But she took it serious until we was 16. She wanted a baby with me. She wanted to really be with me. And I realized that after, so many years, like, well, you gotta stop. he was too skinny too. She wasn't like Auntie Rose. Auntie Rose was thick, but when Auntie Rose, when I penetrated her, she never let. It was never about re-penetration. It was she was masturbating. She was, using me as a little masturbate. And when I was getting bigger, as I got real big, I went in it. Because I was practicing with other girls. I remember I told you I had my first 2 kids at 12. So by the time of that time, I went up in that. I had to, brother. I'm thinking that this is what we was, escalating to. And apparently it wasn't. I went in it, I got in it a couple of times, and then she snatched me right out, and she just rolled over. But she never really said anything other than, like pulling me up between her legs, all since I was a little kid. And no one knew except my sister. My sister, I told you, my sister was one of Larry Hoover queens. She was a disciple. I was on the other side. I was a vice lord. My sister knew because my Uncle Charlie and Uncle Danny was having sex with her. LaWanna knew because she caught us. And she wouldn't tell on us as long as I participated with her. And this was just every day, all day, because she lived right there with me by Chatham Village. I don't know if you know where Fluky Lounge is on 83rd and Cottage Grove. That's where we stayed. But my grandma stayed on the west side. We stayed on the south side. So that's how I ended up being a vice lord. But my sister was a GD. Yeah, so that's how that happened. And it really messed me up because all the girls I've ever had relationships with, they had to be like my auntie. She was thick. You remember JJ? Remember Thelma from Good Times?
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed a Thelma in my life, yeah. And she was light-skinned and she was so voluptuous. So it messed me up, bro, because I still want her to this day. If I was to get out of prison, no matter what she did to me, I would want to canoodle with her. I want to run that. I mean, that's how bad it is. And the doctors tell me that it's not my fault. That, I should have, my auntie tell me, Auntie Joyce, Alan, you should have knew better. When you and LaWanna was doing that, I'm like, man, Auntie, I didn't do nothing. I didn't penetrate LaWanna. LaWanna wanted me to penetrate her. I couldn't do it up until we were 16. But Joyce was like, you wrong, Alan. Why you was doing it with Auntie Rose? I was only 6. Auntie Rose was 12. So you imagine when I turned 13, oh my God, she's like prom queen. And don't nobody know. It was like the best little dirty secret ever. I couldn't wait to go to grandma's house. You know what I'm saying?
Dang. So
it fucked me up, bro.
So you say you had your first set of kids at 12. When's the last time you stopped having kids? Like at what age?
My youngest son, his name is Isaiah, and she named him Appleton after her other 3 kids. I was only 21 when I had him. 21, 22, I had Isaiah. He just turned 36 years old on June 14th. June 21st, I'm sorry, June 21st. And I just found him on Facebook when I told you I bought that cell phone from Suge Knight. I found him. I was going on there looking for, all of them. And then I have 6 boys and 5 girls total. Wow. And they're from the ages of 36, to 46. That's 10 years, just 10 years in between there. Yeah, absolutely. So he was the youngest one. And, he don't even know. He just found out through his mom that I was his father, with all the money I was sending him. I told you I've been in here selling spice, everything, flipping, just doing anything I can to just take care of myself. Because, my family ain't never been there for me, My mama hid the fact that I was in prison for over 17 years because she was embarrassed. And then my sister, before she got murdered right off of 63rd and Woodline. No, 63rd and Drexel. She's a GD. She found her with a knife stabbed in her chest. I think it was suicide because she was hoeing, prostituting, using drugs. And she abandoned my niece in that way, and my little nephew. My nephew, he just committed suicide too. She named him after me, Nicholas Allen D. Horton. That's my really name, Allen Devon Horton. And his name was Nicholas Allen Horton. And he just committed suicide. I just found out about 6 months ago. Damn. He was born February 3rd, 1992. 93, I think.
Have you ever had a chance to meet him before?
Never, except over the phone. I sent him $5,000 in increments to come, live with me when he turned 18. But, he said he was androgynous, which I didn't know what that was until I found out. He said, Uncle, I don't have no male, no female. I said, I don't care. I still love you. Right. Come stay with me, man. He got approved to visit me, but then he went to Atlanta to stay with Auntie Minnie. She was having a lot of complications from diabetes and had a few strokes. And at first it was a blessing. Then he started robbing her, taking advantage of her, running around with the little Mexican boys. He like Mexicans too. But he like boys. I don't like, but I still loved him, man. You know, he was so pretty, bro. I don't know what happened, why he killed himself, but my cousin told me, my cousin Steve Jr., a cousin in Chicago, well, he stayed out there in the Heights where y'all stayed out. Yeah, we got 50 minutes. I can call him back though.
Yeah, seconds. Yeah.
So I was kind of sad that I lost him. He was my only sole heir of a child. Like your surname, I have it. 5 boys, none of them have my name. None of them have my first, last name or nothing. And that was a blessing that she named. I didn't even realize it's like, wow. You know, that's like, wow. And I never got a chance to meet him. So on the phone, we talked. Yeah.
Have you been close to any one of your baby mothers? Are you close to them?
Well, my youngest son's mother, we were real close until I started telling her that I was gonna get with her. Get with her sister. They called me a pass around. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That shit hella rude. You see how they just be running up on me, trying to talk to me while I'm on the phone?
That was the security?
That was the officer. I mean, damn, I already told him I had a modus operandi. Come talk to my video. When I finish, because I'm working on my mental health. I'm keeping it real with you, because I can't get out of prison, which I told you come July, August, and be thinking the way I was thinking. I tried to make a suicide attempt just in February. And because I just don't know what to do, brother. You know, like, I've been actual innocence from the beginning. If you Google the Rampart Scandal, they locked me up for that. And I was in Hollywood selling dope. I mean, I wasn't no angel, but sometimes you don't need to be an angel because something's down the devil. And that's all it is, though. I can't make no excuses on not being a father present other than the girls. You know, we were so young. When I was from 12 all the way until I was 16, I had 8 kids, went to the Navy trying to be a parent, figuring I could be responsible. And I went to the Navy. Like I said, I'm an overachiever. Academically and athletically inclined. I mean, can't nobody fuck with me, especially football, baseball, basketball. But I miss my calling, you know. People always told me all my life I had a gift to gab, but I didn't even know what to do with that. But I see now being in law and learning how to, I articulate, read Latin. I know Spanish. It's my first language. I'm making it my first language. All these pure-ass Latinas, I'm on them, but that's just me being, just assertive, But my youngest son don't even know who I am until she told him, Veronica, I just printed out pictures. I printed out some pictures on my tablet. I'm going to mail them to you. So you can see them, see the car I bought him, see my little clothing line that I'm really excited about. It's my children's book for mental health. It's called Zombie Bat, Zombie Cat. I'm really trying to come out of here running, actually flying. You know what I'm saying? I've been learning celestial magic. You got questions? I'm ready.
So real quick before I ask you the other question, you talked about the book. Where would you go? Can you get that like here, like online, or how would you be able to get it or purchase it?
What book?
The book you just said.
That I'm writing?
No, you said you just had a book.
No, I've written a children's book. You talking about what I just said?
Yeah. Are you able to purchase it now? Because I was about to ask you how would you purchase it? Like anybody who watching.
No, I'm trying to find somebody to help me. Bring it out, because it's just, I write the little short stories every day about mental health, about how being sexually assaulted, denied, a deposition, not going to school, thinking it's cool hanging out with gangs, everything I did since I was 12, thinking that it's cool to, do drugs, to mask any kind of depression, and to talk about really the molestation, anything like that. That's why I write little short stories, less than 1 page. And it's called Zombie Bat, Zombie Cat, and it's about this little zombie bat and a zombie cat with an iPhone pad and an iPhone watch. I thought of. They got caught in the COVID, but they got these special powers. I mean, it's amazing, and they use music to come regular. To get back, and they see the hoodwinks, which is the people who trying to do like how my aunties and my cousins, what I'm saying, I call them the hoodwinks. And just to think of that's cool to let you touch on them. It's cool to, to blow a charge in your mouth and kiss on yours. It's cool to don't go to school, skip school, and we teaching the kids like, no. And then the hoodwinks, the zombie light come up in the sky, and then the bat and the cat, they're normal. But they listen to Bruno Mars, Crossroads is a part of their wake up song. I have all these different songs that the kids is gonna love, and just be a part part of the program, you know. And then the clothing line, when you see it, you can be like, oh wow, ZKBK, you know. I made red bottom tennis shoes. I made hats, gloves, everything you see me got on. I got a hoodie on that I made. I call it a shitty. It's a t-shirt. I cut it across here, and you can wear it as a hoodie and a scarf. And I mean, I'm just so inventive. I just think of things that, like, it comes to me in different ways. You know, like I was telling you about on 75th and Calumet, the candy I caught up with called, you know, Devon's Delights. Caramel, cinnamon, and maple, and you mix them up and you bake them, and it comes out different flavors if you switch the seasons around. I mean, I don't know where it comes from, but I appreciate the universe for sharing things with me, and I want to leave a heritage for my kids. My grandkids don't even know me. I got 4 beautiful grandkids with my youngest son. I know, bro. And my biggest fear was, sir, that they were going to have sex with each other, because they were all in that one radius area. From 79th and Yates all the way up to 79th and Marquette up to 83rd. So they all would have been right there in that area, all 11 of them. All of them. And remember, the ages from 36 to 46. So I'm trying to prevent it, and I didn't know how to do it, you know. So the books, I'm trying to look for an author. I wrote to a couple of book publishing people to ask them if they would look into it. But, you know, in here, they're a little concerned about who you're talking to. So when I get out, I'm going to Karamo's show. On Karamo Brown. And he gonna help me. I know he gonna help me because he's awesome, bro. And he gonna help me find my kids. And he gonna help me do the other things that I'm thinking about that's inspiring, which is my nonprofit business or whatever stuff. You know, this is stuff because in here it's been really rough. But I was made for this, meaning this was a trip that I think that the creator wanted me to go through. So I, you know, spill through.
Yeah, you would definitely be able to do that because it ain't too hard to find like publishers and stuff like that.
I know.
But so just give me a part of like your life through, I guess, high school to military, and then what got you to California, and then to what got you arrested, and we could go from there.
Okay. Well, what happened was, I was, like I said, I think a lot of it, the doctor says, because of the sexual abuse. And then my mom was physically abusive. She used to beat us with extension cord, me and my sister. Not having a dad around, but he was around, but he was, you know, absent. So I guess because I was going to the summer schools to try to chase all these girls, I ended up graduating earlier. Went to the military trying to find some kind of hospice for my children, because I had 8 at the time and 16. When I went to the military, I was doing well, but I got a BCD, a bad conduct discharge for smoking weed. And, you know, I was fucking everything. You know what I'm saying? I was all in Thailand, Subic Bay, Singapore. I got extradited back, and I was in restriction housing, you know, like I'm in right now. But I ended up getting out of all that, going back to Chicago, and I found Mr. Edwards. He worked for Austin Diversified Products in Harvey, Illinois. And that's when I had my other son, Theodis Rome Jr. The girl named him after the other guy she was with. But that's my heir. Just like Isaiah Appleton, that's my son, but she named him after the nigga she had kids with. And, you know, and they were just thinking that maybe I'm being neglectful, but I was neglected. So I didn't know how to be, you know, for my young ones, you know, and I didn't know how to, and most of the girls in Chicago I grew up, if you have a baby with them, especially young age, their mama raising the kids, you know. So in short, I wound up going to California.
Oh, I was just saying that without interrupting you to come closer because it blurs out your background.
Okay.
So right
I
there.
ended up coming back to California with Mr. Austin T. Edwards he was out of Austin Diversified Products in Harvey. And when I did that, it was the best thing for me because I was a door-to-door salesman and I was making like $1,500 a week just under the table. And then finally in 1988, 1999, I drove back home and bought me a brand new Nissan Sentra. But my abuser, Luana, and her mama, and they moved out here, and I ran into him sitting in the car one day with my boss's son. She dating him. And this was in Orange County, Santa Ana, California. I couldn't believe it. She went like this. Oh, hey. I knew that was her. I knew it was my cousin. We're 3,300 miles away from home. So now she's in my room every day, but I'm entertaining other girls. I would never have, you know, we got in trouble when we were 16 together. When she tried to make me have sex with her mama found out, called her a hoe, it was a bad turnout, and I had to go back to Chicago because they stayed in Maywood, Illinois. Well, when I got back out here to California, I just was loving it, sir. It was Mexicans, mountains, you know, palm trees, you know, like it was just awesome. Selling dope on the street, and that's how I got convicted. Well, in 1992, the officers picked me up for a murder that they thought I was a witness or a suspect for, and it was a young lady named Brenda Kay. She owned a TV ad agency for commercials. Her and her lesbian lover. Well, you know, of course, it wouldn't take long for some rocks. You can get him to do anything for some rocks. She would have, you know, sucked the dog's dick. I'm keeping it real. But I didn't know she was on heroin. They made it look like she was an angel. You know, Mama knew from Manhattan. Her sister was a lawyer, Claudia Kay, out of Stanford and everything. And so they just made it look like I was Jesse James with a suntan. Told me that I was being charged for murder. Then it went from murder because the girl said that she was a lesbian to robbery and rape because the car was missing during. But they never found anything on no possession or no robbery stuff on trial. The semen wasn't mine. They said it was inconclusive. That's what they told me. So Judge Ito said he was going to do a DNA testing. The ones for OJ trial. I was going to trial soon. OJ was going to trial. Didn't happen. Went to trial. My lawyer told Ron Rothman says my client is not particularly a nice person. Devon is a dope dealer. Devon wanted to stay at the girl house. She's a lesbian. He wanted it per quid for per quo. Things got ugly, escalated, and turned into a killing. I was like, hell no. I jumped up. I already got on the stand. I told him I was going to Bonner Brave, Wilshire Academy Technical School. I didn't tell him I was a drug dealer, but I was. That's all I was doing was selling drugs. After I lost my job with Mr. Edwards for selling drugs in the company. He don't want you to do that. But he loved me, you know. I was dating 2 of his daughters. And I was just one of the, they call it hot shots. You know what I'm saying? Door-to-door sales. And I believe I knew I was because I just bought a brand new 88, 89 Nissan Sentra and drove it from Chicago all the way out here by myself with my boy Lonnie. He couldn't drive a stick shift. So that's how I ended up coming to jail. I came to jail and they kept telling me that we're going to get you out of prison. It was seeking the death penalty. I'm like, kill me. Because what evidence do y'all have? I knew I didn't do it. Only thing they was trying to remove me, I never been in I was jaywalking, and for an ounce of weed, I ever got caught for, and drug paraphernalia. I loved smoking. You know what I'm saying? I used to smoke crack. I ain't had no problem with smoke crack. I wanted to get my money. And they picked me up with $4,200 in my pocket and said the motive was that I killed this girl for $40 worth of crack cocaine. And they never found none of their stuff for me for robbery. They never found no blood evidence on my clothing that matched the victim. They got the murder weapon. I had no fingerprints on it. No fingerprints in her bedroom. It was ransacked. And then they started throwing all the evidence away once the Innocent Project, I told you I got with the Innocent Project in 1999. The judge told me, Judge Wapner, says, we threw all your evidence away in 1995. I said, you're a goddamn lie. I was still on appeal. He said, don't matter. It's still moot. It's your motion to preserve the evidence and all that. And I seen that by watching that Donahue show, sitting in Pelican Bay State Prison, which is the most maximum security prison that you can go to in California for men. And I'm sitting in the shoe in the hole because they said I assaulted a staff member that I never did assault. And I ended up getting a $4,000 settlement for that case. That's my first lawsuit. Oh, yeah. I sued Warden Prudently and Ledbetter and him, and I got a $4,000 settlement. I can show you the receipts. I got that money, but they took it all from me. Yeah, 2085.J of the Title 15 says you don't get any of it because I owe $10,000 restitution for a crime, a body that I didn't commit. So that's how I got out here, and that's my story, which you just asked.
So when you when you got arrested, you had a public defender, or was it a hired lawyer that you had?
They gave me a public defender, a lady, and then when we was in the back, I was a really young strap. I was pretty cool looking in, long hair on my back. She asked, could she see my phallus? And I said, no, I snitched. I told the judge. So they recused her. And maybe I shouldn't have did that. But then they brought me a state appointment, Ron Rothman, who railroaded me. And that's the attorney that I have now, Michael T. Drake. It's a federal public defender, the one that I wrote all on the GoFundMe and stuff. He was like, hey, man, we did a secretor versus non-secretor test in my nose. He says the evidence was favorable that I was not the person who committed this crime. I already knew that. The DNA evidence was never tested. They said they didn't have to. But the Judge David Ito said, yeah, they never did it. And so I just been going through changes since then.
Dang. You could call back or?
Hell yeah. Okay. Hell yeah.
Cool.
This is important to me. Like I said, on my text message to you, this might go viral, bro. And I need people to know what's going on with the state of California. I need people to know what's going on with this justice system, this Department of Correction, that is so ruinous and nefarious, bro. I just beat a murder case right now, but the DA referral is still pending. This officer said that I was going to kill him and give GBI, and I beat it on a hearing. Like, hey man, show me the proof that I said that. It's like, well, didn't you write a 602? I said, yeah, he was threatening me, calling me a nigga. Hell yeah.
Is that what he?
Back.
Okay. So I had a question though. So, because like I know when you first got arrested, I know you be angry and shit like that. You don't know what's like going on. So when they give you a public defender, like, do they come visit you and do they ask you like questions? Do they really try to help you, or they just be on some bullshit? And then also, also like when you locked up like with other inmates, because a lot of them that I talk to and they get advice from other inmates in there and they be knowing a lot of shit. Did people in there, because I know the laws are probably different from California and they be knowing the codes and all that, did any of them try to help you and tell you what to do or give you advice on who you should go to?
Yes, sir. So what happened was when I first got arraigned and I got bounded over, you know, people were using my name in vain, saying that I confessed to them to the murder and all that. Joe Rimbert was one. Anna Rifa, her name was Panama. I didn't know who was using all this stuff and how they was getting this information. They didn't have any. It was hearsay. They had a hearsay rule back then. Well, when I first went to court and the lady came and said, hey, I'm going to be your, attorney and this, that, and other, it turned sexual immediately. And I'm like, I'm not putting it on the glass. I'm not doing that. I want a speedy trial. To answer your second question, the latter one, the people who told me who had, LWAP, different sentences like that, they said that, listen, man, ask for a speedy trial. They don't have no evidence in your case. They're going to try to, bound you over on a hearsay rule. That's what happened back in the early 90s. They would give people LWAP, the Mexicans and the blacks, life without death sentence. So he said, what you do is you ask for a speedy trial. And that's what, answering your question, they was teaching me how to, handle myself. Which this new lawyer that I got, Michael T. Drake, like, I can't believe how you knew how to ask things back then when you weren't even aware of the law. Now, I wasn't more so mad or anything. I was afraid. Ike Turner was my cellmate. And he told me, be careful, young brother. This is Tina Turner's husband. He says, man, they're going to try to, give you a life sentence if you don't advocate for yourself, man. He says, and if you go to prison, just please watch out and don't do these certain things. He said 5 things, which I'll tell you about. But so when I got the new attorney, I explained to the attorney that, hey, what evidence? Let's do an evidentiary hearing. He says, no, I'm going to ask for a defense. I need to build a defense. I said, how are you going to build a defense on a murder trial where he said I raped and robbed this person when I wasn't even there? Well, make them prove the case. And he said, no, so I argued with the judge and I argued with, him. I said, hey, I want a speedy trial. They denied me. Come to find out I had a right. You know what I'm saying? I was never Mirandaized neither. Like, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have the right from an attorney. And attorney, if you can't afford one, won't be appointed to you. I found this, listen to Law and Order. Dun-dun. This is how I know that stuff. So I'm like, okay. So when I finally got a chance to, let the attorney, he come visit me and tell me, hey, they don't want to seek the death penalty no more, which it was a kind game, because if you don't seek the death penalty, there's only one attorney. You have to have 2 attorneys for a death penalty case. So he recused the other attorney that would have objected, I'm sure, to what his strategy was, which is to say, won't you confess to it and I'll get you a crime of manslaughter. Hell no, I'm not confessing to no crime of murder, especially when I'm not a murderer. I didn't even have to kill nobody in the military. So then I didn't understand but the people in prison, because I end up going to the best place in the world, High Power, which is 1750, which is where Lau Menendez was, which was David Benson, the one that's supposed to have killed his wife in prison. All these people was in there, Snoop Dogg, the LA 4, you know what I'm saying? These are at this same time. So, I'm scared. But guess who else was in there that was teaching me how to do the law? Mexican Mafia. I love them. They was the nicest people in the world if you were just a genuine person. Plus, I was the best chess player on the road. They loved it. They trying to get me. And I never knew how to play until I went there, But they also taught me how to understand and ask for things that I didn't know that would benefit me right now. So I didn't know about the lawyer system. I was only afraid, and I ended up getting a life without the possibility of parole. And they wanted me to sign for that, a waiver, and I never would, and they still gave it to me.
So how long did that your court proceeding last?
Like not even a day and a half. They did it fast.
Well, from the time you got arrested until you got your sentence, how long did that last?
Well, that took a while because they kept asking for continuance. Because as I told you, my lawyer was saying that he wanted to prepare a defense, not the prosecution. My lawyer should have asked for a speedy trial right away. Ron Ruffin, but he's dead now. So I'm hoping that he's turning over in his grave. Yeah, we just found out that he passed away. And his friend that he hired, his private investigator, Adam Dawson, who's still alive, he got $30,000 to do nothing. But he told me, Ron told me, oh, this is my buddy, so, I'm going to get him to investigate the case. And he did nothing. He never, Michael T. Drake and him and his investigator, Kate, just talked to him. And he says, well, yeah, I got the 30. Well, he didn't get the whole 30. He broke Ron off. You know what I'm saying? I think they might have went 15. It would have been smart to go 15-15. Or he might have less. He might have got the lower half, but 30,000 was allotted to them because it was Judge Lance Ito who gave the money for the DNA testing and for the private investment, and he never used it. Never did use either one of them to help me.
Dang. So, and I'm not you saying that you were angry that you were scared. So when they public defender come and like see you do that, did he give you confidence like, well, yeah, we gonna get this, or did you know when you went that you was gonna be in trouble?
He
like
said, well, I knew I didn't do it for one, but he assured me that they didn't have any evidence, and then when everything started working in my favor, in which they wanted to not seek the death penalty, you know what I'm saying, and my mom was alive, she was like, Alan, don't worry, and I had already had like 11,000. I hit a lick, and I was saying, Mom, just get an attorney, a real attorney. She's like, you don't need it. So she wouldn't do it. So I was calling Johnny Cochran, he was still alive. I was calling, anybody I can call for assistance and just get, legal advice from. And they was very helpful. Johnny, one of his lawyers at the law firm, said, man, you shouldn't have to worry about it because they have to prove the case. One of the doctors that was in the LA County jail, Dr. Webb, I never forget him. He was like, man, you from Chicago, you in trouble. But if I was you, do not plead guilty. Do not take a deal. And I stuck true from the beginning that I'm innocent. I didn't know anything about the murder. I knew the victim. They said, well, you're never supposed to talk to the police. I'm like, well, what the fuck I was supposed to do? The neighbors knew me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, so the girl ain't talking from the dead saying I did it. There was no video. They don't got no fingerprint. I didn't know they didn't have fingerprints. I didn't know that they had no physical evidence, even though they had the murder weapon. The whole room was ransacked, and they said so-called semen in her, and the rape was concluded. They said because she was a lesbian, but they found semen in her, but it wasn't mine. It's in the transcript. It was inconclusive to me. They had found blood on my clothing 6 days after that, but we got the same blood type. But the blood that didn't come from her was inside of my pants pocket. That they said, but the other blood could have came from her. But they didn't want to DNA test it. And then when I asked for it to be tested and preserved, the judge says no. And then he threw it away. He started destroying it the same day afterwards. That's what Michael T. Drake said. They started destroying the evidence right away. I'm like, wow, this is just so much. But thank goodness for AB 865, that military bill. Remember, I got BCD, a bad conduct out of the military, but he go to the military saving me because it got me this attorney, and he said he would not, let him and Kate, his investigator, they would not stop until I get exonerated or, a new trial. And they wasn't even getting paid. They just have unlimited funds like the prosecutor. And that was the best thing in the world. I was so happy that God works good. I call him Yahweh. Yahweh is amazing, So
that's who you working with now?
Yeah, Michael T. Drake. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's in the federal public defender on downtown Los Angeles.
All right, because if you get out, when you get out, they gonna owe you some bread.
That's what he said. He said in the Title 15, I looked, it says you get $140 a day for every day of being convicted. But that's not even $2 million, sir.
It's not?
No, it's like a 1.9 million and some change. I've been here for 35 years. I lost my mama, I lost my father, I lost my sister, I lost my nephews, I lost all the kids. Even my youngest one is lost because he don't even know. He knows I'm his father now. His mom told him that. He don't know me, bro. I never spoke to none of my little grandkids, sending them $200 a week sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure they had everything they needed. You should see the brand new car I sent you. You know what I'm saying? I'm sending it to you when I get it. I'm sending it to you. Pictures of it. You're gonna see I'm a brand new flamed up Mustang. My baby mama said he having a midlife crisis. But he called me. He said he's not mad at me about anything. You know, he's taking care of all his kids in his house. I'm so proud of him. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, you know, I wish I would have had that fortitude. I wish I would have had that, you know? So, but he got it, so that's cool.
So when you got arrested, like what part of California is that? And then what was the process of like you going from the county to the prison? And from then, which prisons have you been to? And also, like, what people or famous or high profile that you've been locked up with?
Around. Okay. So, as soon as I got convicted in 1993, was November, they forthwith me, meaning you got to go to the prison right away. So, David Benson, the guy I told you that I met you through vicariously, he was like, go Club Med. You know, play crazy, which is called Cat J. So I cut my wrist as soon as I got off the county bus, and they put me to the mental hospital. Yeah, because I didn't want to go to none of these high, you know, penitentiaries, these big time penitentiaries. But they sent me to Tehachapi, which is a reception center. And when I got there, you're only supposed to stay for 30 days, but I had to stay longer, only because I was ducking to go to medical. When I got to medical, I was in the back where they had me at, but you have to do a count if you were just new into the prison. And they knew I was back there, but they penalized me, and then they fucked around and put me back. They started me back over, which is in the reception barracks, and I had to go. And so long story short, they ended up sending me to Calipatra, which is one of the notorious prisons that was down at the time. Big U that just got arrested. Big U from the 60s. Yeah. He was he came up to visit me in Salinas Valley in 2023, him and Nick Cannon. But he was in prison in Calipatra back in 1994. And that's when all the East Coast Crips ran into the program office. So I'm like, oh man, you know, like I'm in a place I ain't never been before. No surrounding like this, you know, ain't nobody try this. Just Crips, Bloods, Serenos, and Woodpower, which is the ABs. And they was warring with each other, stabbing each other up, beating up the COs, knocking them out. Wasn't no fences up. Now all of a sudden they got fences up, because the Crips ran into the program office. Then I turned around and they sent me to Pelican Bay, as I told you, because they said that I was supposed to assault some staff members, but I didn't. When I turned around and got to Pelican Bay, they found that I didn't assault nobody, and they wound up exonerating me from that, and they sent me to Tehachapi. From Tehachapi, I stayed there for 5 years. 5 years I went to Lancaster, which is a lower level, 180 to a 270. When I got there, I stayed there for like about 5 more years. It's a black facility in Los Angeles County. The warden is black, everybody was black. Shaka Khan came, Michael Corrier came, Shaka Khan sung Jamaica Funk for me. But then I got in trouble because some of the CO ladies was liking me and the dudes wasn't liking me, the CO dudes. So they transferred me out of there and sent me to a different facility. So I've actually been to like almost 40 facilities. 40 facilities, yeah. I got like a minute left on here. I know, I ain't got a minute left. Right there. Look, brother. So yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, somebody was on my time too, remember? So anyway, we got 46 seconds left, and
okay, cool.
Maybe I can't call back right now because you probably see them in the.
No, we good.
Right here, but,
yeah, we good for today. So then we
okay,
could.
But I can call you back. Text me when you want me to call you back. I'll sign up for that time.
Okay.
We can sign up every Sunday, but text me ahead of time, like what day you want me to sign up for and what time, and I got you.
Okay.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Because we could continue. Because I told you it's gonna take me like a month. We are right back and forth, but it's gonna take me a month for another interview, and then we could do like different. Now we could do like different stuff.
I like that. And then by the time I get my stuff off the thing, I can send it to you. I thank you for your patience and your time, man. I appreciate you. 10 seconds, 9, 8. Chi-town. All right, Mr. Joliet.
Yes, sir.
Send me some screenshots. Next time we're going to do screenshots so I can see my pictures on here. You know, like,